we're all so complex. And everything that's ever happened to us is right here, now with us.
Rosemary Worley, and she has been involved with the healing arts for the past 30 years. Her entrance to the world of wellness came while she was a paralegal and was introduced to Reiki. Her massage and bodywork training began in the late 90s with Bob Oni at the Universal Institute of Healing Arts. She continued training during her 20 years at Top Notch Resort and Spa in Thai yoga massage, integrated eclectic shiatsu, raindrop therapy, and other modalities. She led classes in guided visualizations, chakra balancing, and group energy healing sessions. Rosemary developed remote spiritual consultations, intuitive readings coupled with remote healing sessions, including ancestral and past life sessions. Please welcome to the show today, Rosemary Worley.
I had some major trauma in my life, and he brought me back to the first time, if you believe in past lives, and I do, first time the incident happened. And I got to see how I responded to all these different things that were just layered and layered and layered. And then he took me to the first time the trauma had happened. And what I saw was amazing. When it got to the first time, my actual response changed. He allowed me to change the picture and the story. So after I did that, it was like I was watching a slideshow of each one of those lives and how that one change back at the beginning would have alleviated any of that trauma. And it was just like this series of pictures that I saw these different things that I didn't even realize were related. And I saw them all like a movie change, and it changed my life for sure.
Let's just say it as it is. When people look at quote-unquote healers, or people who maybe look like they have their stuff together, right?
Yeah.
I think there is a tendency, or at least I've had a tendency in the past, thinking that they just self-existed that way, always and forever. The stork brought them there, and
Right.
they didn't have to go through anything to get there.
Yeah. No.
Right? There's
Not
always,
at all.
it's the hero's paradox, right? So you reframed that picture?
Yes.
That original picture?
Yes.
What did it take for you to reframe that?
Well, you know, in of course, I think the world of Bob Oni, and he's a Barbara Brennan student. He's a master. He's, you know, my dear teacher. But he was talking to me the whole time. I was relaying what was going on to him. And part of what went on was I had no voice. Okay. In that first life. I didn't, it was an abusive situation, and I said and did nothing. I froze. So he brought me back to that moment, and he ended up having to like get me really angry to the point of where I screamed, like louder than, you know, I think blocks around heard me scream. And when I did that, I saw the whole picture change.
You screamed at him, or you just screamed?
No, I screamed at this. I was living that trauma experience each time it happened in each life. I lived it. And I got back to the first time. And he's saying, you know, scream, let it out, you know, whatever he's saying. I don't even know, because I was not in my body much at all. But so I did, I screamed. And when I screamed, I saw that abusive situation, like it stopped immediately. Like nobody wanted to deal with that kind of like who, you know, you'd walk away, right, or run away. So that was pretty amazing. And then in each life that I had seen on the way in, I saw how that one change changed every one of those situations, right up to this present life.
What would be the biggest obstacle then for someone if they were looking to be healed but come into you and maybe had some sort of resistance?
Oh.
Maybe they have had old pattern about religion or the idea of prayer or something like that. Is there a reframing or an understanding that you could give about it in a way that could take the charge out of someone so that they could get over it to get the help that they needed, so to speak?
I would say that people that come to me are looking for help. And a lot of them have tried a lot of different things that haven't worked. And by them being ready and asking for help, some of the biggest obstacles are anger, fear, doubt, a lack of being able to forgive people who've hurt them. And if we can rise above those things and almost like leave our bodies and look at the lineage where these problems come from, it could be alcoholism, it could be addiction, it could be sexual abuse, could be mental and emotional abuse. And a lot of times it's anger is a huge part of things. But when the person allows themselves to let me into their space, I get to see things and explain what I'm seeing, and sometimes just tweak their understanding of it. And really, we've all suffered trauma. We've all suffered trauma. And it's overwhelming. This is why, war goes on. And what is the bottom line? A lack of love. There's been a lack of love somewhere along the way. Love of self, love of the people around them. And so that to me is the formula. Whatever it takes to bring the love back, the self-love and the love for all our relations. I walk a red road, and I do believe that term, all my relations. We are all related. And the more people we can help, the better the world will be. I've always done free energy work, sliding scale, because I've gotten so much help in my life. I want to give back in whatever way I can. So, and every time one person rises up, we all rise up. And that's what we want. And that will help our Mother Earth.
Can you explain to people if they don't know what the Red Road is?
I have traditional Native American elders, but I've spent a lot of time in ceremonies which have helped me beyond belief. Sweat lodges, a wiping of the tears ceremony, cedar baths, and each one addresses something very specific. And when you and just as we are so complex, we need this giant toolbox to use whatever it is and whatever should be pulled out. In the healing work I do too, I communicate with the angels and spirit guides and helpers. And my experience is all that I've had. And each time I work with or on somebody, I learn so much. I learn all kinds of things. And I've been recently working with going to the Akashic Records. it's just amazing.
So when somebody, you do, when people come to see you, so you see people either in person or you do virtual.
I do. I do long-distance healing
Long
sessions.
distance healing, that's it. So if someone comes to you in person, per se, right?
Yes.
What kind of a treatment would they expect? Is it like a regular massage? Is it?
Everyone is different. I spend a good amount of time talking to the person ahead of time. So I tailor and customize the treatment to the person. If they have body aches and pains and emotional and mental issues, I'll do some massage. I mix and match. If I get to a part on their body where they're in a lot of pain, it might start them releasing. A lot of people cry, not just about pain, but about joy and how they've been able to let things go that maybe they've carried for way too long.
That's always fascinated me. So basically when people come in, it's either they undress like a regular massage or they would stay clothed on with like sweats
and I
or
give
something.
them an option no matter what.
Yeah, what they want to
It's
do.
really about trying to tune in to what works best for them.
Got it.
And no one knows what's best for anyone better than themselves.
And even sometimes they don't even know.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But they do intuitively know when they feel safe or not.
Yes.
So it's about
Yes.
safety, right?
Absolutely.
Creating a safe environment.
And the same way, there are some people, having worked at Top Notch for years, you know, you don't share things with people in a place like that for the most part. And I saw a big change in that. I started there in 2001 in May. And, you know, there are all these restrictive rules. Well, after 9/11, everything changed because Top Notch opened its doors to, you know, people, firemen and policemen, and were coming up from New York in droves. And Top Notch became this amazing healing place for that period of time. And people were so devastated that they would share everything. And, you know, some of the stories were just horrifying. But there was a real switch in people's consciousness. They didn't know what to do or where to go. So massage and energy work and letting them just tell you what happened. I learned so much.
I have this theory that when, I mean, we would call it, I think the term that we use is healing crisis, right? When
Yes.
somebody has that
Yes.
release. I also use the word like discharge
Yep.
because we have that refractory period, if that's the word for it, after you do, or cool down, I think is what they call it in like physical exercise, right? You have to have a warm up and a cool
Yes,
down.
yes.
But your body still has to go from, you know, if you're boxing or running or whatever, it has to calm down.
Yes.
But yet, we don't seem to do that when we have a trauma or a drama or something like that. We're still activating the fight, flight, freeze,
Yes.
or fawn, whatever, but we don't realize that we have to discharge all that, right? So
Right.
then it just stays and then accumulates, and then when we have this chronic PTSD,
Yes.
and the reason why is because any time that bell curve, if you see it, right? I don't know if you've ever seen those charts, it's amazing. And we have to go through the re-traumatization to get back to the homeostasis.
Yeah.
And so that's why someone, I think, if I understand correctly, would probably call you, is they've gotten to that point where they dip their toe back in, they get re-traumatized, they go, oh my God, I can't do with it, and then they get to the point where nothing is working.
Yeah. And we're in a different time now. And just as I had the experience of changing the past, we can do that. We can relive that in a different way. It's easier for some people than others, but giving them time and space to just do whatever it is they need to do. If they just want to sit there and have you rub their hand for an hour, then you rub their hand for an hour. Whatever their comfort level is. And by asking them if you can do something, they're more likely to invite you in because, as you said, they feel safe.
So is it providing the safety and all the other tools that you have to encourage that awareness and then transmutation of it?
And that's important that, you know, when you first start doing body work, whether it's massage or energy work, you have to learn how to protect yourself because you don't want to take on everybody's energies or problems, which I think the average amount of time that people give massage is 7 years because people haven't learned that. And so it's too much. They take on everybody's problem that they worked on. So that's also where the Red Road has been helpful to me. I use the medicines. I use sweetgrass, sage. But I also have seen all kinds of things been transmuted. And so you don't want to just leave that energy lying around. And this is where, and mostly it's silently, I ask the gods, I ask the Creator, I ask the angels and spiritual helpers to take whatever that is and dissolve it or transmute it.
So
That's
for
important.
them and for
so,
you.
I mean, I've been doing this for a really long time, and I'm not about to stop.
I was saying before, I've said it a lot of times, I feel it's a microwave society. We want things in a minute or less, or, you know, we just get aggravated, we get frustrated, we get upset, we don't have time for it, you know, and that's the way everything has just come about. And so with that said, there's myself included, I go, oh my goodness, how am I going to make time for this? So that's why I wanted to call this show that. So is there something practical, like until they can come in and make an appointment with you or do something online or get in and do something, what could someone do when they are experiencing either overwhelm or even if they just want to if they are balanced, if they're lucky enough to be balanced, to maintain it. If they're not and they're having a moment of overwhelm, what simple practical technique could they do?
There are master points and secondary points, acupuncture points, and right below your collarbone is lung 1. So put your thumb on that and just circle it a little bit, one side, one thumb. And then your other thumb, you're going to go to the base of your skull.
The occiput?
Yeah.
So I am putting my finger, so below my ear, like right behind it?
Yeah.
On the base of the skull.
Where it hurts. Where it really hurts. Push hard and it hurts.
Yeah.
So you're alternating. This is almost a way you trick your body.
See,
So you push on the lung 1. You're just holding that spot. You're not pushing. Lung 1, you're pushing in slowly, slowly, slowly.
So I'm doing it on the same side of my body.
Doesn't
Is that
matter.
okay? Okay.
It's however you can do it.
So lung 1 first.
And then slowly let it out. And as you're letting that out, push on the other.
Oh.
And you're alternating back and forth. You're slowly pushing and letting go. So you create this wave-like rhythm. So you do that 3 or 4 times.
Really?
Okay. Then the next one is the middle of your neck. You're going to take your pointer finger and just push in.
Right
Same
in
thing.
the back. So how
on
high
one side of your spine.
How high
like
up?
halfway.
So in that divot?
No, next to the divot.
Next to the divot, so around C2 or 3, like maybe 3 fingers down from the divot?
So same thing, you need that finger on the lung 1.
Got it.
And you're alternating
Okay.
back and forth. This I do at just about the end of every session because it is transporting.
On the person or you?
On the person.
Okay.
Me too. But,
so the first point we had was down on the lateral
base of the skull.
outside base of the skull.
Yeah.
alternating pressure here and here.
Yep.
Then the second one, we moved inwards, medial, into the...
Pushing against the spine.
Pushing against the spine,
Okay, then the
alternating.
next one
Yep.
is the top of the shoulder.
Top of the shoulder.
Yep. So you're alternating in and out, pushing in and out.
Just the top. Okay. Trying to see which feels better. Maybe like this.
Don't, just do it.
Yeah.
Close counts. Okay, then you're gonna, if you're doing it same side, you're gonna have to switch, because the next is the top of your, the middle of your bicep. You're
Okay.
pushing in, and you're just letting go and pushing in, and letting go and pushing in. Then under your armpit, same thing. You're, on all of these, lung 1 is the master point you're using. If you did a whole treatment, you would have different master points. But for this upper neck and shoulder,
So it's right in the armpit.
no. It's
Down.
behind.
Behind. Here.
Yeah.
Whee!
Place where it hurts. That's how you know you've got
So you
it.
know.
If it hurts, you've got it.
All right.
Then you can do your sinus. Keep that lung 1 back and forth with that. Then above the eyebrow.
Wow. Yeah.
Then back to that under the arm. And then you're going to do the other side.
Yowza.
Push the other
Wow.
lung 1. So same thing.
We start, so the outside, and then inside.
And, you know, if you're in a hurry, you can do it for this amount of time, and it helps. You know, if I'm
So you don't
working
have to
on
do
somebody.
3 alternate, you could do 1? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1? Or do you have to do 3?
Times, you mean? Or points?
No, 3 times. So can you just do it
You-
one time?
You can do it one time, but if you want
If
it to
you're-
really work, I mean, sometimes I'm at the end of the session, I'm like,
Yeah.
I got to.
So at
Yeah.
least go through the points
Yeah,
one time.
yeah. And that's the way that whole Jinshindo method works on the body with master and secondary points. And you actually lie on your back for the whole session.
Wow.
And you're reaching under the sheet and doing the back so the person is not disturbed
So-
while you're working on them.
1 point,
And
2
it's-
point, 3 point, and then 4 point, 5 point,
And then back to this one.
and then back. You
And
end
then,
with
and
this
you don't
one?
have to do your face
Oh,
if
this
you
one,
don't want.
6 point, 7 point,
In your sinus,
it's,
a little lower,
oh, lower.
and you push up.
Because this
Where
always
it
feels good
hurts.
to drain it.
Where it hurts. It's always where it hurts.
Not where it feels good.
Oh.
So 7 and then 8. Is it you
You
end
can
here?
do that.
You end up here?
Yes.
Okay, so 8 points.
You know, it's variable. I've worked with it for years,
Right.
and it's very helpful.
That's awesome. No, that's a very practical thing. I love
That's,
that.
if you learn about Jinshin Jitsu,
Yeah.
there's a simple thing where you just hold your finger in a
Yeah.
particular order,
Yes.
gently.
Yeah.
And when you go to sleep at night, it helps if you are someone who cannot sleep.
You know, I've done that when I've been stressed. I just automatically, I will hold my thumb. And I think someone had done this for me when I was going through chemotherapy one of the first times. And I've forgotten, is it for the thumb to the...
Thumb to the middle
pinky?
finger.
Oh,
So it's creating this like crisscross.
so
Then
you're
the ring
doing
finger,
thumb, index, and then
No, thumb, middle finger, ring finger,
ring, index,
index, and pinky. And that's,
and you're lightly holding
yeah, and for a long period of time.
thumb, middle, thumb again? No.
No.
Thumb, middle,
Ring.
index,
First.
pinky.
Yes.
Ah, and that's how you end? Or do you end it with all holding your all fingers? Or doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Wow.
But when I
Great.
have been really stressed and
Yeah.
I do that, I usually don't make it, and you do it both hands. I usually don't stay
That's
awake
wonderful.
until I'm done.
You wake up like this. That's amazing. So, Mama, what we're going to do is how, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, so you do online sessions or virtual sessions over the
Virtual
phone.
sessions. Yeah.
And would someone have to be lying down or seated? Or?
I tell them to relax and do whatever makes them most comfortable, but not do dishes or
Understood.
yeah.
So if
like
they're
you're
doing,
going for a session,
if they were
and it's
to,
usually an hour.
it's an hour for that session.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I talk to the person first. I have them call me, and I require that they call me because I'm not asking them for help. By them asking me, then I can say yes.
Understood.
I'm not. People have free will, so you have to
Yes.
allow that and
Yes.
factor it in.
That's huge in a healing, isn't it?
Totally.
So it would be an hour session if they were to.
About an hour session, and I'm doing energy work. I'm clearing their aura. I'm balancing their chakras. I'm doing Reiki. I'm doing all whatever comes up. Maybe using tuning forks.
So it's
I
not.
might be singing. I'm also have the gift of being a song keeper. So it just depends. And then I'm writing as I'm working as well, and then I call the person back when I'm finished and read them, give them the reading, and then send them an email.
And that's information that they can take on their healing journey.
Exactly, and you know, when you were talking before about you know, they're in a hurry and this and that, I would say 8 out of 10 people get assignments. And people are really excited to get assignments because they don't know what to do. So these things come through me. They may have to work with the Ho'oponopono, which is the, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I'm grateful, I love you. There may be reciting it, plugging their name or someone else's name, all kinds of things, going to the sacred site. They may have to go sit in the woods for a while. So whatever comes up during the session, I pass it along. And as I said, most people are like, yes, I have something to do myself.
Wonderful.
And then, of course, they can come back anytime.
Wonderful, wonderful. So people, if you want to get a hold of Rosemary Werley for a consultation or for some healing work, we'll put that information on there, how to get a hold of her for either an online, a virtual session or in person if you happen to be in this lovely state of Vermont.
Yeah, and I'll be working out of Northfield Falls.
That's wonderful. The lovely Northfield Falls, and the Falls General Store is a great place. If you haven't been there, you should definitely go and visit. They have a lovely store downstairs, and then upstairs they have a beautiful yoga studio and a studio where we do our practice.